I'm going to swing under.
Yes. Yes.
So we're under the bar here.
Very handsome.
Position, I'm shoving my shoulder blades back and down.
Very smart.
What I'm doing with my hands.
Very smart.
Is I'm
wow.
doing this, right? It might not
wow.
look obvious, but right
okay.
Now, before I unrack it.
So guys, hey, how you doing? Welcome back to your mum's favorite channel on YouTube. I was actually just watching your mum's favorite channel on YouTube, thinking to myself, it's a very smart, very handsome fellow there. So just been enjoying this morning. Now today is Q&A day. Today I'm going to answer all your questions. You've asked me a whole bunch of really good questions actually, and you know, I thought it was appropriate to bring out my special hat to obviously signify my wisdom and knowledge that I'm going to impose upon you today. Let's have some fun. It is time for a Q&A, but obviously during Q&A I've got to get some food, and obviously it's going to be a very poor nutritional choice. So today we're going to go real poor. We're going to get McDonald's poor.
Okay, today.
Hey love, can I please get a large double Big Mac meal?
Yeah, Coke for the drink.
Yes please, with a Coke for the drink. Can I also grab a sweet and sour sauce?
Sweet and sour sauce, anything else?
And a chocolate soft serve.
Got everything for you today?
Yes please.
You're up to down.
Believe it or not, I'm actually feeling very, very naughty today. That's the one. Thank you very much. So, as you can see, I'm loaded. $17 something. That's pretty good. It's pretty good, you know, for the excellent nutrition that I'm about to receive in the name of our Lord Almighty, Satan. The devil!
I could hurry up.
The devil! It's time to receive my nutrition. Thank you very much. Cheers, bro. Thank you.
Are you having a pre-dessert? Mm-hmm. Well, what are you doing here?
There you go, spend $1,000 in there for you.
Cheers, bro. Thank you. So, I don't know what this is. To be honest with you, and again, you can probably get this confirmed, but I ejaculate more than this. Alright, God. I'll see you in a minute. Alright, first question. Baphomet12113 asks, do you ever feel scared before a 1 rep max attempt or when touching a weight you've never touched before? Tips on overcoming mental blocks, fears when it comes to setting new PRs. Very good question, bro. Very good question. Yes, fear is extremely normal. If someone tells you they don't feel fear before handling a heavy squat, I would suspect they're lying. Fear is a normal emotion and reaction, you know, based off perhaps something to do with anxiety, you know, being unsure of something, right? So when we're touching these weights, it's normal to feel fear because, let's be real, from a logical perspective, there's plenty of risk involved, okay? It would be silly to try and sit here and say it's perfectly safe. If I'm squatting 400 kilos, I know very well, things can go wrong very quickly. And yes, it's scary, but overcoming that, you know, is an opportunity, right? Talk about opportunities. It's a challenge. It's not easy, but you have to be able to bring yourself back down out of the emotion, you know, trust what you've done in training, which is also important that you train correctly. You wouldn't just squat a max for no reason if you haven't prepared for it. We must prepare our body, you know, our muscles, our ligaments, our tendons to do these things. We have to condition them. And that's why we prep for competition. We build up to a 1 rep max. And that's why we don't just go crazy for no reason, because, you know, injuries and bad things can happen. So the best thing to do is do the work you're supposed to do, make sure you've done everything, ticked all the boxes, and then have confidence knowing that you've done everything you can. And if something goes wrong, it goes wrong. We can't control that. But it's more likely to go wrong if you ponder it too much. Okay, so just accept, yes, it's scary, yes, it can go wrong, but that's okay. This is what I'm doing, this is what I want, and I want that more than compared to how scared I am of actually doing this. I hope that helps. And keep in mind, every athlete in any sport, you know, no matter what level they are, they will get anxious and nervous and scared before whatever it is they're doing, you know, not just lifting weights. Good question, bro. All right, next one. Mark B 8467 asks, are we going to see a 450 kilogram deadlift from you this year, in your humble opinion, sir? Hamstring slight setback aside, you're progressing like a motherfucker so far this year, and I'm going to keep asking about strongman because we need an Aussie to win the world's strongest man aside from Eddie Williams. I believe one of the only Aussies capable of competing at that level is you. When can we expect to see that? Does the guy just have to donate some Atlas stones for that to happen? Well, sir, 450 kilos, one thing, it's a serious number. If I was to put a suit on and commit to deadlifting with a suit, yes, I'm confident that I could do that. However, currently my goals, you know, lie in powerlifting, which is squat, bench, and deadlift. So I can't put all my attention into just one lift. Hamstring injury, it was actually an adductor injury, very close, in the groin. So yes, that aside, things have been going really well. It's held me back on my squats, but it hasn't held me back anywhere else. And it's a lesson learned, so I'm learning to squat better so it doesn't happen again, right? And about strongman, hey, when the time is right, perhaps I'll do it. And yeah, we know it'd be cool to have, you know, more athletes at that high level. I definitely think that I could bring that if that was my chosen profession and I committed all my time and effort into it, like I am doing with my powerlifting. Because I did actually beat Eddie Williams head to head in my second strongman competition, and he is a world's strongest man competitor. I was very new to the sport, and that was just based off my, I guess, my raw ability. So, you know, I do have self-belief there, but I also know that if I was to pursue that, it would take 100% of me for some time as well. It wouldn't happen overnight. It would take a year or two at least to, you know, put yourself in that conversation. So that's just being real. But yeah, good question. And I have a quick bite. See what this Big Mac goes like. The double Big Mac is double meat, so you got 4 pieces of shitty quality beef, which tastes fantastic though, because whatever they put in here, it does work, right? It's not good for you, but it tastes good. Saucy. You like meat in your mouth, don't you, Scotty?
Fucking oath.
Absolutely, he does. Bit messy. That's what she said. Next question. Gambit Queens asks, recently bulked from 100 to 125 kilograms. Strength gains have been great, but the quality of life has taken a hit. Increased blood pressure, sleep apnea, little stuff like putting a seatbelt on in the car. Would you recommend bulking and cutting or maintaining? Terrified of losing strength gains. Looks like you sit around 140 to 145 kilograms year round. Cheers, boss. Well, dude, adding 25 kilos, you know, to your frame is a lot of weight, and everyone's a little bit different. I don't really know, you know, what your BMI or your body composition is like. Let's say you're a little higher in the body fat percentage, and let's say your diet isn't really tight and tidy, right? You know, those things can contribute to obviously sleep apnea, increased blood pressure. How do we overcome that? Now, I'm not saying you have to lose weight. That would help, obviously, because weight gain is the probably main reason you're feeling those things, but we can also reduce the severity of those symptoms by, you know, cardiovascular training, doing cardio, you know, 4 or 5 times a week. That's going to help your blood pressure. That's going to help your sleep apnea a little bit, okay? So being fit helps a lot in a cardiovascular sense. There are other things I've done to help with sleep apnea, things that involve smoking the devil's lettuce, right? I have a script, pharmaceutical script, and that has actually helped my sleep apnea personally. I'm not recommending that you just go and do that, but that's something I did. But again, train like an athlete when you can. You know, try to get some different movement patterns into training. Be active, pardon me. Go walking, do your cardio. Those sorts of things will help your quality of life immensely. Okay, so with the weight gain, with the strength training, if you just add a bit of cardio, make sure you're sleeping well, make sure you're hydrated, and eat relatively clean, I think you can feel a lot better whilst being heavier. So I hope that helps. All right. So next one. Okay, next question. This is a good one. Hayden4988. What's your opinion on self-regulating each workout instead of strict programming? Well, it's like RPE, right? That's why I like to use RPE. A lot of coaches don't use RPE, and I understand. But from my perspective, if you are able to self-regulate your training, your intensity, then I think you're going to set yourself up for better results long term. A lot of people don't want to learn about the RPE, the rate of perceived exertion. So I think that's why they kind of shy away from it. They think that it's a little bit too, it leaves too much room for interpretation and error. However, at the same time, it allows you to fully have an input in what you do based off exactly how you're feeling that day. So an RPE 8 could mean two different things on two separate days. It's very dependent on here and now, okay? When you have percentages and numbers set in your program as a strict number or percentage, you're also setting yourself up for failure because not every day is a good day. And when those days occur, it can be quite catastrophic to the athlete when they're not hitting the prescribed numbers on their program. Okay, that comes into the psychology of a high-performance athlete and their hunger and determination to do a lot and be the best. It's also a weak point. So when things don't go to plan, they can sometimes crumble a little bit psychologically. So that's why I think RPE leaves more room for interpretation. If we're talking music, RPE is like jazz, okay? It's all on the fly. And I think that's the best way to be, as long as you have a basic idea of what you're doing and a general layout of a plan, but things need to be able to change. I hope that helps. All right. And I'm also going to apologize if you have to put up with Scotty in the background. He's doing his squats here. I would show you, but you wouldn't want to see that. So I'm going to keep him off just to the side here. No offense to you personally, Scotty. Whatever. All right, my friends. Next question. All right, this is a little more different, but I'll give it a crack. A20638 asks, if you don't mind me asking, what's with the Satan tattoo above your lip and what looks to me like an upside down cross under your left eye? Could be a sword. No hate, just interested. No, sir, it is an upside down cross, and yes, I have Satan tattooed on my lip. I also have, for argument's sake, I have Jesus on my hand. All right, so I used to be, we'll call it a religious person. I was a practicing Christian for quite some time. And that changed, as I began to question things and learn more. Maybe 7 or 8 years ago, I really had a deeper burning inside of me to question everything I've been told my entire life, as eventually a lot of people do. And that led me, I guess, in a sense at the time to rebel a little bit, but it didn't feel completely like rebellion because the stories in, let's say, we'll just use Christianity for example today, in the Bible, they never made sense, And the further you look into things and the further you question things, the more you learn. It's a blessing and a curse, but you start to understand that it's all a lie. And it's all based off really bad interpretations of another language a long time ago, based off stories that were like Chinese whispers. Okay, so I did essentially turn myself to the dark side, if you want to call it the devil, even though there is not really such a thing as the devil. Or, we could even say Satan, but you don't want to think of it as a literal physical thing, although potentially, sure, it could be some sort of energetic force, right, that is that. But it's a representation of liberation to me, right? So when you understand that the Bible is constructed of stories and Chinese whispers, but also they've just simply taken, stories and things from other cultures' texts that predate the Bible by thousands and thousands of years, and they changed the names and the places and the things. So when you go right back to the beginning and you start to understand where they build these characters off, and I learnt personally that Satan is the good guy. Although he wasn't known as Satan, you might have heard of Enki and Enlil. Enki was more similar to Satan, where Enlil was very similar to Yahweh or the Christian God. And as I always suspected, because when I was a church-going Christian, it never felt right. It's a very hypocritical thing to have all this love and adoration for a God that would just as quickly see you dead. For a God that claims to have all power and all knowing, but at the same time loves to see people suffer, essentially. And, there are more murders and killings and wars fought over these gods than anything else in the world. So the further I went back and understood things, the more simple it became, the less spooky it becomes as well. And you start to correlate science with the spiritual. But it's been a journey. But anyway, to tie that back around, the reason I have Satan there is just because to me that is the liberator that planted the seeds of curiosity for me to see what we are, to see where we come from, and a true purpose, because I didn't think or feel at any point that Christianity or monotheistic religion was the answer to that. And that's why I say I'm not a Satanist at all. That would imply that I still have Christian indoctrination, and I don't. I don't believe in the devil. That's not a thing. It's a concept, seeded into the Bible to again help control people. That's just what religion is. So that's a very deep answer, probably too deep. That's what she said or he said in Scotty's situation. But I hope that helps. And have a break and have another bite of me fucking burger. So good, but so shit. I love it. We'll roll through a few more because it's going to take a little while. We've got a few more good questions. Dead Froze Coro asks, what should I do if I'm stuck on a weight, particularly in bench press, and I cannot seem to push past that milestone, considering my sleep, diet, training, intensity is perfect, and to failure? Well, my friend, to failure isn't always a good thing. Yeah. Now, training intensity is perfect, defined perfect. And if you're doing these things and you're not progressing, you simply need to probably run a better program and improve your technique. Technique first and then program. If you're struggling with that kind of stuff though, that's why I'm here. I'm a coach. So anyone watching, I give a lot of free information. I help you as much as I can. And all the information applies to everybody, even my athletes. However, the difference is, with coaching, I will individually and specifically help you apply these things the way you need to suit you and your levers, your body, etc. I hope that helps. Do a set, Scotty, you bitch. Bitch.
That helped me.
Hold on, mate. Shut up. All right. Car Wash MK asks, I've always used a thumbless fingertip hook grip for pulling exercises, so my closed fist grip sucks. Now my deadlift far outweighs my grip. I use figure 8 straps to compensate. What's the best way to train gripping a bar? Or should I say fuck it and keep doing what I'm doing? Well, sir, you just answered your own question. The best way to train gripping a bar is to grip a bar, actually. I know that might sound crazy to some of you, but really things are quite simple in this world. If you want to get better at deadlifting and holding onto a barbell, start by deadlifting and holding onto a barbell. There are things you can do to support that and supplement that, such as grip holds, holding dumbbells or farmer's carries in your hands for a certain amount of time. It might be 30 seconds or a minute. There's multiple grip exercises you could do, but I would at least start with fucking the straps off and not using them until your grip catches your deadlift, because right now, that's not a good place to be. I think that would be one of the most frustrating things, is to have a deadlift that is stronger than your grip, so you will never actually be able to deadlift what you're truly capable of. So consider that, my friend. Reduce the use of the straps, at least for your warm-ups, and at least for your accessories. If you need to do a top set or something like that until your grip catches up a little bit, fair enough, but you do need to consider, ditching those straps a bit. Alrighty. Josh O'Brien 9817 asks, how many calories are you eating on prep? What's a good caloric surplus for a powerlifting meet prep? And elaborate on macros, if possible, that you find works best. All right, sir. Well, calories, depends on everybody. Everybody's different. For me, I'm in a slight bulking phase because I'd like to put a kilo or two on. So I'm probably eating 5,000 to 6,000 calories at the moment a day. Nothing over that. My activity level isn't crazy high at the moment. My training volume is quite a bit lower due to being closer to comp. So my energy expenditure isn't actually overly high, but I still need to be in a surplus. So yeah, I do eat in probably a 500 calorie surplus or so, maybe a little bit more. Obviously certain supplements that I take as well change things a little bit, right? I'm not natty, so that definitely does change things a bit. Now, in terms of macros, I do need to work on getting more protein in, but I aim for around 300 grams a day. Carbohydrates, 500 to 600 grams a day. And fats, I try to keep them around 100. That seems to work well for me, but everyone's, again, a little bit different. But that is general, and that information should help. And also, you shouldn't need to be in a caloric surplus for a powerlifting meet unless you're bulking. Remember that. Only need to be in a surplus if you're bulking. Maybe you need to cut to make weight. Maybe you need to maintain your weight. You need to consider that as well. All right. What else we got here? Quigley 9168 asks, how would you adjust your training for things like bicep and hamstring tears? Well, sir, if you tore your bicep or your hamstring, you're going to be in a bit of strife. If you've torn your bicep, I wouldn't be using that arm, to lift weights with for a little while. You might need to see a doctor. But essentially, if you hurt a muscle or you injure something and you still want to train, you just got to be smart and go, I'm not going to do the things that hurt it. Is there other things that I can do? If I've got a busted bicep, I can definitely smash my legs. You can maybe get a little bit of shoulder work with a lateral raise, depending on the bicep injury. You can play around with things, right? But think about what are the things I can do. Don't focus too much on what you can't do, because you'll still find that you can make gains in areas that you may be lacking, and now you have an opportunity. So it comes into every challenge, every hurdle is an opportunity, for you to succeed and to navigate it and to learn something and to become better. So, we've got to change our perspective on those sorts of things as well. I hope that helps. And I think I got maybe one more here. One more question, guys. ITTMB6ZQ. These fucking names, guys. Can you just change your name so they're at least normal? Asks, best food and drinks to consume during a meet. Well, firstly, let's just start with, don't consume anything that you're not used to consuming, because you don't want any surprises. But ideally, we want to focus on hydration more than anything. Okay, so making sure we're hydrated doesn't just mean water. Hydration means electrolytes, okay? Sodium, potassium, and magnesium with your water. Problem is, if you drink too much water without replacing the electrolytes, you actually end up flushing out more water and dehydrating further because you have nothing to help you retain that liquid. So hydration is very important. And in terms of food, fast digesting carbs I think are fine. You know, just easy lollies, rice cakes, you know, things like that. Things that are easy to eat. There's not too much complexity to them to break down in your guts. Nothing heavy, nothing fatty, and a bit of protein as well, of course. But again, things that make you feel comfortable. I personally struggle to eat on comp day. My stomach turns to shit. I get no appetite, anxiety, nerves, and it doesn't help. So I really focus on hydration, and I drink my calories. I drink my carbohydrates. That's fine. It's just one day, and I'd rather do that than not get that in at all. It doesn't really affect my performance negatively, provided that I'm getting in, sufficient hydration and nutrition. But my friends, I think that's all we have for today. I hope my hat helped. I believe it did. There's some good questions there. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing this every week. So it's a new segment. And next week I'm going to try and get some better food. I wanted to get dumplings and donuts today, but I went to get dumplings and it was closed. I thought that would have been really fancy and sophisticated of me. But yeah, maybe I'll get a cigar next week. Maybe a new hat. But of course, please drop a comment, like this video, subscribe to my page, let me know if you have any feedback. And don't miss out on the next one if you have questions. And of course, go to the fucking gym. I'll be back soon.